Hello, everybody, and welcome again to Consciousness Rising Zimbabwe and Beyond. So for those of you who are interested in alternative or fringe or metaphysical topics, then this is the place where you tune in. And we really like to highlight all the people because there are just so many people here in Zimbabwe and also in South Africa and the whole Southern African region that are doing fantastic things in their communities. And today we have one of those people with us. She's from Bulawayo. Her name is Lara Knight, and she has been a medium clairvoyant for the past 15 years. And she's here today to share her journey and her experiences with us. Welcome, Lara.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Lara, 15 years is a long time. I would imagine that you can tell us a bit about yourself, when this all started for you, when you realized that you were a medium and you had all these psychic abilities. So maybe you can start there with how it all started for you.
Well, I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it, even though you say Lara the medium, it's still hard to believe because you're always trying to be more clear or more specific. So I feel privileged that you've introduced me like that, and it's taken a long time for me to maybe even admit it and say, yeah, maybe I am a medium, because it's just so hard to grasp and you always want to be humble about it. But I think it's always been for me a sensitivity. I've always been so sensitive, and when I started to hear for the first time, I didn't even know that I was actually doing it because I thought it was in my mind. So the way that you hear spirit is in your mind. It's not separate from you, which is something I never really quite understood because it's hard to discern between your own thoughts and hearing. And the first time I heard was during a yoga course and a deep breathing course, The Art of Living. And while we were doing the meditation and the breathing, I realized that I was aware of a gentleman. And I was like, this is interesting. And this gentleman basically made me feel him. He showed me things. I realized that he was passed on for the instructor. So I thought, well, there's no way in heck I'm going to tell anyone this. I'm just going to keep it to myself. And then after the breathing, the instructor said, Lara, please stay after. I just want to show you a bit of the technique. It's called the Ujjayi breath. I'm sure you're aware of it. And I said, fine. And then I took that as my sign that I should tell him. So I passed on the message and I said, it was just crazy. I had this gentleman with me and he just wants to thank you for everything you did for him and helping the preparation of his physical body, is it? And I was so surprised, and he agreed and said he was shocked and I was shocked. And it turned out that he could relate, and that unfortunately it had only been a week since he had passed. And if I had known that, I might not have said anything, but it was a message of love. It was a message of gratitude to say that I'm fine. And that was the first experience that I had of hearing, actually hearing and having it validated, because you don't actually know until someone says, yes, you're right. And then you say, oh, okay, so that made sense.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was the first time. And then it's just something I've always wanted to do, having had an experience of a real medium. And the qualities of mediumship, one of my most beloved friends, she was a spiritualist, and she was the one that introduced me to mediumship and the qualities of being a medium. And it's something I've always wanted to do, but never believed that I could actually do it. And it's just been an incredible journey of learning, and the people that I see are my greatest teachers. The clients that come to me, I learn from everybody, and I every time I don't think I've ever fully achieved. I will never get there. I don't think. I'll just keep on learning. Does that explain it a little bit?
This certainly does explain it. So then after that first experience, did you undergo or start doing some kind of exercises, or how did you strengthen and enhance those muscles?
So after that first experience, I decided that this is definitely something I wanted to learn, to grow, to help people, and to develop myself spiritually, or to connect with God more, or to whatever you want to label that, whatever your belief structure is, higher power. And I asked my husband for permission. I said, look, I want to do this, and I don't know where it's going to take us. Is that okay with you? And at the time that my daughter was 3, And she didn't really know, but she said, yeah, mommy, it's fine. And my husband agreed. So it took meditation in groups, and it's just been a progressive thing. I actually never thought that I would be a reader. I didn't think that wasn't the goal. That kind of happened when people started asking to see me, and then I couldn't say no because my need to help was greater than the fear. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Yeah. So my need to help people. So our first time, the second time I had a mediumship experience was at my dining room table with a lovely lady who, I don't know how she got my number, and I agreed to see her. So before clients would come, I would meditate on them. I'd write their name on a piece of paper, meditate, and somehow download all this information. I don't know. I just used to download, write it all down. So when I sat with this lady, I had all my written paper ready to tell her what I got. And I just felt this incredible presence of a gentleman. So I said to her, I know this is crazy, but have you lost a dad? And she was like, no. And I said, oh. I said, I just feel like there's a gentleman here. And she said, oh. And I said, well, do you know who it is? And then she said, well, I think it's my husband. And then I said, well, I've never done this before, but do you mind if I just close my eyes and see where we go and hear and see? And absolutely, I closed my eyes, and it was just like a telephone line, and it didn't require much effort. And once I put the fear behind, and my need to help her or to connect for her was greater, he was just a telephone line, and it wasn't hard for me just to repeat what he was saying word for word. And that was a very profound experience for both of us. I think we went through a box of tissues. So we just cried together, and that was very, very profound for me. And then from there, it's just gone from, I would like to say from strength to strength, but it just depends on the person, the situation. I've had such interesting experiences and difficulties relating to the quality of the information or the specificness of the information, and it's always different with each person. It's always different because everybody's different. Everybody holds a different energy, so it depends on the love, you see, because the bottom line of mediumship is love. That's what it is. You have to have the love.
Okay. So can it happen that some people come to see you and you really get very little information because maybe they themselves are not open enough, or does it rely on the person's energy themselves?
Well, I'm naughty because sometimes when I sit with people and I warm up. So my warm up is I tell someone about themselves, and that's my way of tuning in. So I feel them. So I tell them the first thing about having a reading for anybody that would like a reading from anyone is I believe that don't tell me, I'll tell you, because therein is the gift. You see. So my rule is don't tell me, I'll tell you, because when people give me information, I tend to doubt myself and think, well, did you tell me, or did I hear that for you? So my rule is don't tell me, I'll tell you. And so my naughtiness is I'll warm up by clairvoyance, by warming up, focusing on the person and feeling them, feeling who they are, the type of person they are, the difficulties they might face relating to their personality, whether it's self-confidence, self-love, that kind of thing. And then once I've warmed up and they've agreed that I'm right, they'll say yes or no, and hopefully they say yes. And then I'll expand my awareness gently, and then I'm aware of energy. So I'll feel masculine, feminine. I'm not your typical medium. I sometimes doubt myself quite a bit, so I have to validate that what I'm hearing is correct. So I'll often get birthdays, dates, numbers, random clairvoyance, just to say, you know what, Lara, you are seeing clearly for me. Because it's just sometimes if your human mind kicks in, you just think, what am I doing? This is crazy, So I always have to validate. And then the mediumship side can come in. And the mediumship side is you can only pass on what you hear. And so with this, you cannot make it up. It's either there or it isn't there. And I always say to clients, I won't pull. I'm very sincere. If I don't hear for you, I'm not going to make it up, and I won't make it fit. You get some beautiful souls who want it to fit, and they'll say, oh, no, well, it could be this. And I'll be like, no, sorry, it doesn't feel right to me. And then other times I'll say, yes, possibly, but I'm not sure. So I never make it fit. Does that answer that? Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long will it take when somebody comes before a loved one? Because it is normally loved ones that appear for people and like relatives. Does that happen before they come?
Yeah, people come for reading.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes I'm aware before they come. I can feel the energy, but still not specific enough. Like I'll say, oh, okay, I feel a lady with me. And I feel that lady. And I'm like, okay, I feel you, but it doesn't mean I'm communicating, to be very honest. I just feel the energy. And also I'm naughty. I don't always listen. I don't always listen because I'm driving. I've got school. I've got life happening. So I'm aware and I gently acknowledge and then I get on with my day. And then when I come to the appointment, that energy comes closer to me, or that soul light comes closer to me. And then it's almost instant. So we skip out the clairvoyant bit or the feeling the person, and we just go straight in. And I ask for validation. I'll say, give me something specific before I say, and I'll hear a birthday, an anniversary, a date, or anything specific. And then this person will say, oh, yes, no, that's my mom's birthday. And I'll say, is your mom still here? And they'll say no, and then off it goes. Yeah.
Okay, so basically those souls will decide who wants to present themselves. You won't call them in. Like if somebody wants to specifically speak to their father or their mother, you can't guarantee that. It's really if they choose to come. Is that correct?
So different souls have different frequency and vibrations. So some souls who've been passed for a longer time, their frequency and vibration is more of light or more in the love. So it's not always easy for them to lower their frequency and vibration enough down to connect with me. So we might have different validations, and then I'll say, do you have a question? And they'll say, I was just hoping my mom would come forward. And then I'll say, oh, okay, what's her first name only? And they'll say the first name, and then I listen. And then it'll either automatically, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it opens another doorway, and then I start to receive. You also find, as in life, where we're polite and we let the person go first and we wait our turn, souls are also like that. Sometimes they wait, they stand back, and they let everybody else go first. And then when they say their name to me, it's like opens another door, and then they come forward very gently. It's so lovely. And it's always about the love, always. That's the only way that a connection is possible, is the love. And if there's an issue that needs healing, or if there's something that needs forgiveness, or if there's something that is just burdening the client, it normally, I would say mostly comes up, because I'm still human. I'm not perfect, but I'd like to think that mostly we get the message across of love and healing. Mostly, because everybody's different, and some people don't want to hear. Some clients say no. I'll say, I have a gentleman here and he's asking if he, and they'll say no, I don't want to talk to him, and then I can't force it. I have to say that's fair enough. And there's nothing I can do, and I try and squeeze in, well, he's just making me feel XYZ. And if that client is not wanting to hear from that person, there's nothing I can do. I can't. And then they've come for another reason, a more human reason, whether it's life or job or work. They don't want to hear, So I can't force them to hear it. So it's just different people.
It is different people. But I also feel like even all of us, we do have these innate abilities to tap into all the energies around us. So if those frequencies of our loved ones that have passed on, they're around us anyway. So we just think about or tap into, then we're already creating a link to, to that energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a question here, Lara, is do you ever get any other beings, ascended masters, angels, aliens, any of those coming through?
I've never considered myself worthy enough, to be honest, but I can just say that I felt privileged to have had experiences of angels, mostly with people. They don't have to show themselves to me. So when I'm shown an angel, I feel very blessed and humbled that they thought I was worthy to see that. I have been, like I say, I feel privileged if I'm shown something of nature, or if I'm at a water and I see things. it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to see those things. But when you say, can you communicate, can you this and that, I find it difficult because I doubt myself, to be honest, but I just feel the love and I acknowledge. I'm very respectful, and I don't always talk about it. I don't always say, because I just think it's sacred, you know. Aliens, I personally believe in absolutely life out there. Yes, I absolutely do. Experience of contact with aliens, no, that I have not at all. But my most familiar to me is angels, nature, spirits, if you can label them that. I feel it's limiting sometimes to label them. And guides, spirit guides of people, it's also a privilege to be shown, because it's not always a give. If people say, what about my spirit guide, Lara? And it's not always for me to tell you, because sometimes the journey means more to you if you experience your own guide. I can validate information for you if they know me, but it's not always a given. And I'm always honest. I'll be like, no, sorry, there's nothing. It's like big blank wall goes up. It's not always a given. It's a privilege. Yeah.
And tell me something, Lara, in your own life, do you find that obviously they feel your frequency and they know that you are a gateway to us here in this realm? So do they hassle you? Are you surrounded by these spirits all the time who are wanting to send messages and communicate?
Well, I have such a busy life. I'm very naughty. I tend to switch off. But I will say that I feel great pulls. Like if I'm out and about, I get such a pull to someone, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, and I'll look, and I'm like, oh, and I look at the person, I think, shall I tell you? Shall I not tell you? And I look at it, and then I say, well, give me something specific. And then if I hear a birthday reference, I will be brave, because it's not for me to keep it. And if it's the messages I receive are always for love. So, for example, I'll hear the birthday reference, I'll go up to the person and be brave and say, excuse me, does September have any meaning for you? And they'll say, it's my birthday. And I'll say, oh, do you mind if I pass the message on? And then the message is always encouragement. So, for example, not so long ago, a message of don't quit, don't give up, just hang in a little bit, it's coming. You know what I mean? The difficulty is how do you know that you're speaking truth to someone, or it's very, to me, I'm very, how can I say, how do you know that what you're saying is truth to someone? Do you know what I mean? It takes quite a bit of courage for me to actually go to someone and blurb a whole story. But I do listen. And someone said to me, the reason why you do hear, Lara, is because they trust you to pass it on. And then I was blessed with this particular situation. I did get feedback months later, and the gentleman came and said, thank you so much. You don't know what you did for me. So when you get that kind of feedback, you think, okay, I'm not crazy, because it's very difficult. People sometimes respond, not always, but sometimes they're like, well, what church do you go to? Where's this information coming from? And I just say, look, I'm gifted, and I'm just trying to encourage you, sign the contract, you'll be fine, But it's hard. It is hard. And I tend to switch off, to be honest. I'm myself. I'm a person. I'm not always tuned in. I'm thinking about spaghetti bolognese and tomato puree. So I'm just a normal person, but I do get harassed. Yes. But not that I listen. I'm naughty that way. Yeah.
But you've obviously developed the mechanisms whereby you can tune in, shut them out.
Yes.
Just not today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not today. And sometimes I just want to give love. Like you can tell when people need love or kindness. So it doesn't need to be a message. It just needs to be, they just need that love, a hello or contact or something, because I don't know, everybody is so in themselves at the moment with the situation, and life is difficult and all we're going through. People just need kindness, and more than anything else, more than a message, they just need love. I think.
And I to be honest, from my own experience, years ago, I did go and see mediums and people like that. It brought me enormous comfort. Yeah. You can go from absolute stress to, now I understand. And, so I think there's a huge value in the things that, in this type of thing, Lara, is in this gift, if I can say.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I do know a lot. Let me just tell the listeners here that I know a lot of people who have been to see Lara, actually, or remotely had a reading with Lara, and they all just rave and Yeah, and people that are close to me, I've noticed shifts. I've noticed shifts in, so I think it's a very valuable thing that you do. And I encourage people, please, to look up Lara. And now, Lara, tell us, you are coming to Harare.
Yes, I come to Harare twice a year, 3 times a year. And I'm coming this week. Yeah, I'm coming this week, Thursday to Sunday. Yeah.
And when are you coming? Is that just for pleasure, or will you be doing readings for people?
No, I'm booked. I've got clients. I'm coming for readings. The problem is that a reading does take an hour, so there's only so many people you can see in a day. Do you know what I mean? So I'm coming for readings, and I know to come when people ask me. People say, when you're coming, and they're like, okay, that's like a sign that I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's just a bit of drag now on this line for some reason.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So Lara, are you? So you arrive on the 20th till the 23rd, and are you pretty booked up for this trip?
Yes. I actually am, and I say that very humbly because I don't know how people get to hear that I'm coming. I think it's a bit of their people in spirit. I don't know how it works, but it's like word of mouth, and I actually don't know how it works. But I put it out there, and then I don't know how it works, but somehow people get to hear, and then I just listen for them. I actually just listen for people. I validate for them. You find a lot of people, like you were saying, are so intuitive in themselves. They just need that validation I'm not crazy. I am hearing my mom. It's so amazing, and when I say it, when you're sitting on your veranda thinking of your mom and you tell her X, Y, Z, and sometimes it can be very specific, it's just such a wonderful validation that I actually am talking to my mom. It's just so hard to believe, So I'm just the voice. Yeah. But everybody has it, like you said, sensitivity. But when people are in deep grief, their hearts are in so much pain, they can't feel yet because the pain overwhelms. And so the other thing is that mediumship doesn't bring the loved one back. It's so hard. They think they're coming for a reading. It doesn't bring them back. It's that physical separation. But some of the messages can be so specific that they can say, well, there's no way she would have known that. And then it gives them a measure of comfort, like you say. It's a very sacred, I feel very blessed, honestly. I still can't believe it. Even though I do it, I get, before I come to Harare, I have to tell you, I just talk to myself and say, what are you doing? You must be crazy. And then when I come and I get into it and I get into the zone, then I'm like so relieved when I'm done. I'm like, thank goodness, because it's just such an unbelievable thing until you're actually doing it and you put your mind aside and the fear aside, and then it flows. Yeah, for everyone. And that's for everyone. Once you quieten the mind and still your mind, that's when you can see, feel, and hear things of a deeper perception. But the mind is the block. Well, mine is anyway.
And the trust, and the trusting in the process as well. Is always that self-doubt, as you say. That's right.
Oh, yeah, and it's just such a pain, honestly.
Well, now, so tell me, so moving forward, going into the future, have you had or have you already done some kind of workshop where you help people to get in touch with their own intuition and their own ability?
Yes, I very bravely, at the suggestion of a friend in Australia, I did a little course, and my course was to help people to discern whether they are receiving or feeling or anything intuitive, or whether it's their mind. So I made them promise to sit with me for 6 weeks. I said, you have to commit to 6 weeks and we'll sit together and I'll help you. And in that time we did, it was quite interesting because while we were doing these exercises and meditations, I was so privileged to be shown how different people receive and how they meditate, or the depth of their meditation. It was really interesting, because that's not something I ever thought that I could be shown. And so by being shown that, I could help them further heighten their sensitivity, just to feel, see, and hear beyond their comfort zone, but always light. You know what I mean? Because one lady was feeling so much she got scared. You see, but it's just energy. It's nothing bad. It's just energy, because our intention is the highest good for all. So that's what we're drawing. Yeah. So, but I must admit, the workshop thing, I'm a work in progress. We'll get there.
Well, the 6-week program that you offered, did you do that online, or was it come and sit down and do both? Okay.
Yes. No, this was at Stillhaven. So it was at Stillhaven, and I limited it to 6 people. So it was intimate. And we did psychometry, which is feeling energy from objects. We did, which was great fun, auras, looking at auras, which was really fun, because we can validate each other. And then we did psychic ability, feeling each other, what you felt of the person, that kind of thing. So each time we sat in that 6-week period, I was kind of shown before what we would do, and then I just trusted that, and we did that. So each week was something else specific. So that there's different ways to feel energy. You can feel it tangibly in your hands. There's just so many different ways. So I was shown different ways to help them, and also relating to their third eye, visualization, that kind of thing.
Well, I think it's fabulous. Maybe in the future you should maybe try and do a lot more like that. Because, I think that is also the greatest gift, is giving those people the confidence to say, hey, trust yourself. You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I think also what does,
and that's what they got.
Carry on. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. That's it. Giving people confidence to trust their vibe.
That's right. And I think also it's to get rid of the fear, because I think a lot of people fear, and I know I did for a long time, that, when you're messing with these otherworldly things, you got to be very clear as to who you're getting and what you're bringing in. Because people are afraid. I mean, they are just, disembodied entities, and there is shit out there. I mean, let's not pretend there isn't. There is.
Yes.
So it's to be.
There is shit out there. Yeah, there is. You have to have that discernment. And can I say that I don't focus, like, for example, if someone says, come and there's something happening in my house, or come and have a look, I often say to people, I'll come and have a look, but I can't clear it for you just yet. So that's part of my process. So I can feel and see and hear if what's there. Sometimes these things are hidden, but they're absolutely there. The thing is I don't dwell on it. I don't focus on it. I don't feed it. I just brush it off. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And then I move on. I don't challenge.
No.
I just leave it. Yeah, leave it alone.
I agree. I think the more you focus on those things, the more powerful they become. It's almost like you just feed them more energy, Yeah.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So I mean, and I came to a while. I mean, now I know I can say to myself, well, no, I'm protected. So you know what? If you're out there, we'll bring it on. I don't care. I'm not interested in you. You're nothing.
Yes.
I'm completely protected. And you sort of just have that grace and presence, and that's like a confidence that just they bounce off.
Yes.
There's no hassle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also we're constantly working on ourselves. So when we're constantly working, or we're aware, like we have bad days and we have shit days. So we're always working on ourselves. But I don't know, I know when I'm off, like after doing a trip and I have readings back to back, I find that I have to work on myself in the sense that I become very detached. Become floaty, because I'm hearing for so many people. I have to work on myself to bring myself back down to earth a bit.
Yeah. And so like after you've been to Harare, when you sort of back to back like that, and you go back, so it doesn't impact your health, because I have heard of that. People, I mean, even when I was doing a lot of workshops as well, after the event, sort of your immune system kind of dropped. Also taking on everybody else's.
I find that I'm very detached. Yeah, I just get very detached. I say fluffy. I get a little bit fluffy, and I also have, as a result of doing lots of readings, WhatsApp calls, and all the rest. I have a very bad memory as well, and I tend not to hold information as a result of the work that I do. I don't know if I think it can be annoying for my husband, but I have a very, very bad memory, very bad, because I think I can't hold any more information. So when I do readings, it literally, I pass it on and it leaves me. I can't remember information or client to client. I literally, some people feel a little bit offended, but I can't remember. I just can't. I just pass on what I hear. When I see you again, you're a blank piece of paper. So it's to me, you're fresh. I can't hold your information. So that's an effect of doing readings, is my memory. Yeah, and health-wise, I just get very tired. After Harari, during Harari, I'm heightened. So I'm buzzing like a bee. And when I'm doing the final client, I just that's it. I'm just done. And then I can rest and I give up. I say, okay, I surrender. And then but while I'm there, I'm heightened, very heightened. People say, Shame, you're so drained. No, I don't get drained. I get heightened. Yeah. I'm like a buzzy bee.
So now, apart from your in-person readings, you also do this online. So anybody can get a reading with you anytime. Is that correct?
Yes. There was a client of mine who said, Lara, I have a friend and she's in South Africa and she really, really needs your help. And I said, this was way before COVID. I said, I don't know if I can do it, but we'll try. So it was the same principle. I'm quite shy, so I don't like to see, like I'm doing an interview with you, but normally when I do WhatsApp calls, I don't see the person, I just hear the voice, and I just need to hear their voice. It's the same principle. I just pass on what I hear, because then you realize love is not limited, and neither is energy. So what difference does it make whether you're in Timbuktu or next to me? I just pass on what I hear. That is the principle. Always, if I don't hear for you, I just tell you sorry. There's nothing. Yeah, you can't make it up. That's my thing. You just can't. No. It's either there or it isn't.
No.
Yeah, so the WhatsApp calls is a relatively new thing, and COVID made it more. So I got more practice and more confident, because COVID came in and now everyone's bored at home and they're like, oh, well, let's just call Lara. So, so I did lots of those. Yeah, but it's all part of my learning. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And Lara, I'm going to put your contact details underneath here. So if people do want to have a reading, obviously they might have to wait a while, because you're not going to, you're fairly busy. I do know that.
Yeah.
And okay, so that's just, so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for finding that courage and that confidence. I also thought, oh, she's not going to do this. And then you said yes. So that was amazing.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's also good for me to honor or to validate by you're helping me to say, what, this is what you're actually doing. Even though I've been doing it for so long, I still battle. I'm just my personality. So thank you.
No, it's a pleasure. So we're going to end it here now, because you know what, we're still on the free Zoom thing, and then they just cut you off when. So to everybody else and to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us, and please check out our channel and all of our other interviews if you're interested in these fringe topics and metaphysical, otherworldly topics, and we have plenty of interviews for you. And we also interview people who are doing great things, projects, holding workshops, all sorts of things for the betterment and the upliftment of our communities and our country. So on that note, thank you, Lara. Thank you for your time. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And until the next time. Pleasure. Thank you
so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.